I get a lot of people still ask me, oh, should I join the military? It's like, I can't make that decision for you. I can tell you about stuff that happened to me while I was in the military. It's not the worst thing ever you could do, but you just got to really be sure it's what you want to do.
If you're asking, should I join the military? I think you shouldn't. If you know you want to join the military, you're probably the kind of person that would fit in.
Yeah.
But if you're pondering, should I? Is this a good use of my time? Probably not.
It depends entirely on what your job is. You can go in the Air Force and be like computer repair. There are jobs in the Army that are basically just like office jobs. There's other jobs like in the Navy or in the Air Force that are incredibly technical jobs. It's better than getting a college education. Mm-hmm. I don't want to tell people 100% outright, no, don't join the military. But I also don't want to tell people, yes, you should join the military. Everybody should join the military. It's the best thing ever, because it isn't. You got to really, really consider, do you want to put up with X years of bullshit and getting yelled at for stuff that you didn't do, having to stand in formation for absolutely no reason? The potential job you'll have in the military, is that worth dealing with that bullshit?
And I think there are a lot of high school students that aren't experienced enough to make that decision. So I would say, as a catch-all, no, don't join the military. Look at other options first. The military, if you're not sure, should be a last resort. It might help you escape a terrible living situation. It might help you if you're in trouble with the law. But for the most part, you're possibly better served doing anything else.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand why you say that. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have learned as much about firearms as I did if I hadn't joined the military.
Wouldn't you? You could have spent a bunch of time studying in your free time. All that time you spent standing in formations and doing push-ups for being punished for other people's mistakes, you could spend that learning about firearms.
Yeah, but being in the military, it was an excellent resource for being allowed to play around with machine guns.
There are gun clubs you could join.
But do they have a 240 Bravo?
Probably not.
Is there a gun club I could join where a bunch of special forces guys are going to say, hey, do you want to come to a firing range with us tomorrow? And I'll say, does a bear shit in the woods?
It offered you some unique experiences.
It did. Some of them bad, some of them good.
Some people say they want to join the military so the military can make them fit. Oh, I want to join the military so I can get in shape.
Go to a gym.
Just go to a gym.
Yeah.
The military is going to yell at you until you do the things you would have done if you had just done them.
And being in the military does not necessarily mean that you will get in shape.
There's plenty of fat asses there.
There are plenty of fatties in the military that cannot pass an APFT and somehow are still in the military. Mm-hmm. When I was flying back from BIOP to my base, I had to wait for a helicopter that was going in that direction. I was waiting near the flight line with a bunch of other soldiers, and there was one guy that was sitting there, and he was just wearing, like, khaki pants, black hoodie, and a baseball cap on, some, like, Oakley sunglasses. It just looked really out of place, because we're on a military base, and yeah, there's civilians there, but this guy is waiting for a military flight, and definitely does not hold himself like most of the civilians do. And sitting next to him was a UMP-45. And I had never seen one in person. My only experience with a UMP-45 was Call of Duty. And I'm like, that is a UMP-45. What? Can I look at it? And he's like, yeah, man, go nuts.
May I touch it? May I lick it?
That was when I also realized that he had a Glock 19 on a holster, which is not standard issue for most people in the Army. Why do you have this? And he goes, oh, I work for AFES. I knew immediately what he meant.
Is AFES the name of a company?
It's like the Armed Forces Exchange Service. They're the people that run the PX, which is the store that soldiers buy crap from.
Okay.
Basically, he was saying, I work for somebody, I can't tell you who it is, for plausible deniability reasons. Pretty much the dude was either really high up in Army SF or was like Delta or something. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ask any more questions about who you work for because I don't want to get stabbed.
I wouldn't stab you. That will leave evidence.
We go to get on the helicopter. The crew chief points at him and says, you're not allowed on the helicopter unless you got body armor. lifts up his hoodie, and he's got like a low visibility plate carrier just completely stacked with UMP 45 magazines. He goes, all right, never mind. Puts down the hoodie, gets on the helicopter.
Concealed.
I'm like, oh my god, this guy's so fucking cool!
Why didn't you join that branch, Zach?
Oh god, there are legitimately points where I like think back on my military career and I think like I don't know if physically I would have been able to do it, but mentally I'm stubborn enough that I probably could have gone special forces. Like mentally I am stubborn enough.
You have endured a lot of shit.
I have endured a lot of shit and I probably could have it would have sucked. I don't know. I don't know if I could have done it or not. I think while I was in the military, I was in physically good enough shape that maybe I could have done it. Maybe I could have made it through Special Forces selection. I always hesitate to give myself more credit than I think I deserve, which I think I deserve zero credit whatsoever. In a different world, I probably could have done it.
You could have joined the Marines. That's so prestigious.
I believe that I could have at least made it through Ranger School. Any more than that, I'm not sure. Maybe.
I bet I could have done it. Knowing nothing about Ranger School, I bet I could pull it off. Because that's how you get through those things. You fake it till you make it, blind confidence.
I know there's a lot of people that wash out of Special Forces selection.
But there's a lot of people that don't.
Not that many. We had a guy that was in our unit that had washed out of Special Forces selection. Not through any fault of his own. I think he basically like fucking snapped a tendon in his leg on one of the ruck march. Because they make you do a lot of ruck marching in Special Forces selection. So he had like snapped a tendon in his leg or something, and he'd washed out once, and then he went back like a couple years later, and then he unfortunately had washed out again. And after the second time, it was like, no, you can't come back again. We appreciate the drive that you have, but
we're only taking people with functioning tendons.
So I kind of wish that I had at least like tried to go, but also I kind of doubt my unit would have let me. They would have been like, oh no, we need you here to fix guns. You can't go to Special Forces selection.
You're special to us by staying here and fixing our guns.
Yeah. Whenever we had to go to firing ranges while I was in the military, I don't know if it was the same thing for the Marines, but for the Army, anytime we had to go to a firing range, we had to wear Kevlar, eye protection, and then our full flak vest.
Cumbersome, but okay.
It's cumbersome and tedious, and I hated doing it. And they're, oh, you gotta train like you fight. Cool, I guess I'll wear this 90-pound piece of shit. Well, I went to an SF range one, because I had helped install a bunch of suppressors on a bunch of SF guys' rifles. The next day, they came down to the shop, and he's like, hey, we're doing a firing range tomorrow. We're just gonna be shooting a bunch of random crap. You want to come out to like the SF firing range? I'm just like, does the Pope shit in the woods? Because of course I do. So I went out there with them, and I brought my flak vest, and I brought my Kevlar, and all like my different gear and everything. I get out there, one of the guys that's running the range is like, all right, you got your flak vest and Kevlar? And I'm like, yeah, they're in the truck. He goes, good, leave them in there because we're not planning on shooting each other.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, yes.
Thank God.
I don't have to wear this stuff.
I hardly ever had to wear my garbage.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you ever had these, but in our boot camp, we had kind of like a golf simulator, only for rifles.
Oh, yeah, we had those.
Okay.
I don't think we had those we didn't have them in basic. They started implementing those when I was at Fort Polk. Yeah, it's just like a big white screen, and the gun has like a tube going to it that it kicks the bolt back when you pull the trigger.
It's been so long, I can't remember the specifics.
Yeah, we had something like that. Yeah.
It was just so weird because we were up in the mountains doing regular mountain training in boot camp, and then on one of these hikes, they marched us into a building, and there was a screen. Not for PowerPoint presentations.
Ooh!
It was for playing a video game.
That'd be cool.
It was weird. There were some weird standout moments in my boot camp. The one that stands out as being the most surreal was the time we went to a baseball game.
Okay.
Yeah. The San Diego Padres, I believe, is the team. We went to a baseball game.
Brought you to a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah. And we were in the stands, and around the 7th inning, they went, we'd like to pay tribute to the Marines from boot camp, blah, 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 up there in the bleachers over there. That may have been the only reason we were there, is just so they could
All right, then.
pay tribute to us.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
One of the moments I had in basic training that was super cool was during a bunch of like different night exercises. And one of the ones that we did, the firing position that they had us go into was made out of like logs, and it was built into the earth. So you're in like this little bunker, and you're just in there by yourself. You get a little window that you're looking out of, and it's completely pitch black outside. You can't see anything. And then suddenly red flares just start going off like shooting up into the sky, and then they shoot up a big illumination flare. Pop-up targets start popping up from like behind like wooden logs and behind stuff. It's like the shoot house scene in the beginning of Men in Black, only it's with like pop-up targets instead of aliens. And there's flares going off and you're in the middle of the woods and everybody's shooting stuff. There's tracers ricocheting off things and you're just like, oh my god, this is like a fucking World War I movie, dude.
With tracers, yeah.
Just shooting this stuff. They told us beforehand, like, put the rifle on burst, just lay into shit, so we're just shooting at everything that's popping up. It was fucking great. It was so cool.
All right.
That's one of the things that I miss about, like, basic training was basically running around the woods and playing soldier. Running around the woods and playing soldier is fucking awesome.
It has its moments.
Actually being in combat sucks.
Yes.
Actual war is terrifying.
No.
But playing soldier for fun is great.
Pretend war is fun.
Yeah. Did you have to do the thing where you have to crawl under barbed wire and they shoot over your head?
No.
They didn't make you do that? Are you sure?
Pretty sure they wouldn't do something that stupid.
Oh no, it's fun because the towers that they're shooting from, it's a machine gun that's up there, but the tower is like 10 feet up, and they can't actually point downwards.
The answer is still no, that never happened.
Wow.
If they wanted us to crawl through barbed wire, they would tell us to do that without firing a gun.
Oh yeah, that's part of like confidence training in the armies. You have to crawl under, they have like barbed wire above you.
Why would it build confidence if you know they can't shoot at you?
Because it's still freaking scary. You still hear bullets zipping over your head. Oh, and by the way, there's giant pits that are in there that have explosives in them, and they set the explosions off.
No, not actual explosives.
No, like actual, like it's a brick of C4. In a pit, 10 feet down. It's a loud explosion, and it throws up a whole bunch of dirt that flies all over the place, and it lands on you, and pieces of wood hit you, and you're like, oh my god!
Well, that seems a little more intense.
Yeah.
No, it did not happen to us.
Oh man, that was, again, one of my favorite moments. You can see the tracers going, and you can hear the bullets, like, snapping over your head. And you're crawling along, and there's, like, pits. They put explosives, and then they set the explosions off. So it's like artillery impacting or landmines going off or whatever. But there's no way you're gonna get hit with anything.
Okay.
Because they're far down in the ground. But if you don't know that's how it's set, the only reason I know that's how it's set up is because I looked back at it.
Okay. At the time, going
I-
through it, you didn't know.
At the time going through it, no, it just seems like there's a wall right there and there's a fucking bomb going off in it. They used to, in like World War II, if you stood up on one of those ranges, you would get shot because they just had the machine guns like right overhead. Several people got shot because they would panic and try to stand up and run away and then get shot.
Isn't that just culling the chaff, though? If you can't make it, maybe you deserve to be shot.
That's what I think. No, I thought it was super cool. I was like, this is great. Can we move the machine guns lower so I can really hear what it sounds like?
Could you move them even lower? I don't want to be here anymore.